California and received a BFA in character animation from the California Institute of the Arts. He currently lives in Los Angeles and is at work developing projects for film and TV, so give him a big hand.
Testing. Hello, what's up? Yes. I see dimples, I see labels. I love it. We got Seuss here, we got it all. Am I sitting in the right spot? Is this the proper spot?
You're good.
Can I just sit up here on the table? Stand on the table.
All right, well, thank you so much for being here today, Alex.
I'm so happy to be here. It's so good to see all of you. Thank you all for coming out. Somebody dropped the waddles. We got a pig. Pig down. Okay, the pig's been rescued. We're fine, everybody.
All right, let's get started with some questions here, if you don't mind. Disney's hit animated series Gravity Falls, where Bill Cipher originated, ran from 2012 to 2016. What inspired you to make the Book of Bill at this particular moment in time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was actually not inspired to write the Book of Bill at this particular time. I was inspired to write the Book of Bill like many years ago. Disney asked me. Journal 3 sold really well. Thank those of you who purchased it. Thank you. Those of you who didn't, what are you waiting for? Jeez, get out of here. You came all the way out here, but you don't have the book yet. There's someone over here. You can grab it. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's a real capitalist right there. Exchange money for goods and services. So Journal 3 did great, and then Disney said, all right, what do you got next? We want another book out of you. And I was like, okay, how about this? What about like a cursed, evil, like satanic Bible written by Bill Cipher? And it's going to be full of bad advice, and it's probably going to get you sued, and maybe religious leaders will be in revolt. And they're like, what? No. Why would we do that? I was like, because I think it would sell great. And like, we'll see you never. Goodbye. Click. And so they just flat out rejected the idea. And then years later, there was a new Disney department that were like, hey, we're desperate for content. We found this old memo about a Book of Bill. Would you like to write that book? I was like, yeah, of course I'd like to write that book, but you guys are never going to publish it. Here's like an outline. I sent them a little outline that like had lots of like really messed up. I'm going to try not to swear. There's children here. Lots of messed up stuff in it. And they said yes. So here we are. I'm as shocked as you are. I can't believe it. I truly couldn't believe it. They said yes to this. And it was a challenge to write because like it's not hard to think of what Bill Cipher would say or do in any given situation because he would just do what a little bastard would do in every little situation. He's just the worst. But it's also like, you know, there's things that you write that you're like, Bill would write this, and then you review it and you're like, I think if I actually put that in a real book, like people will do the things Bill's saying, and then I'll be liable for lawsuits. Like there was a lot of stuff that Disney didn't even cut that I cut myself because I was like, I can't. So I'm like trying to think like, can I say the things that I cut, or is that a problem? Like I'll give you an example. Like there's like just lots of Bill like thinking out loud. He's like, like garbage disposals. Everyone's saying you can't put your hand in there. What are they trying to hide? The whole media says you can't do it. Probably because there's something amazing in there. Only one way to find out. ... Like a lot of stuff like that where I'm like, people are gonna put their hands in garbage disposals. I can't actually write that. So it was like there's a balancing act figuring out how to like be true to Bill, but not like that true to Bill. Because like, if it was like a real Book of Bill, like it would be live scorpions inside each book. So it's as close to a Book of Bill as we could create while not actually like being arrested for domestic terrorism. So writing is all about that fine line between what will and won't get you murdered or arrested.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, since its initial airing, the show's dedicated fan base has expanded to include a new generation of kids, along with young adults who are either watching it again, like me, or missed it the first time around. Tell us more about how you think the fan base will connect with the Book of Bill. Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to get a look at the demographics. I'm going to see who is the tiniest. Okay, we've got some very new fans here. I see very little Mabel in the distance.
I see a tiny little dipper here. So yeah, I mean, that new Gravity Falls fans keep happening somehow, mysteriously. I'm delighted. We got a new one over here. Yes.
I made that happen.
Congratulations. Well done. Thank you for spreading the mental illness to a new generation. Yeah, so I mean, you know, we made the show. It premiered in 2012, a billion trillion lifetimes ago, and it concluded in 2016, 8 years ago, which is unbelievable. And I presumed that when the show was over, there would be like a little like hooray, and then everyone would just forget, and it would be done. Because that's how there used to be this. Okay, so for those of you who are younger than me, which is like literally everyone, there used to be these things called endings, where a TV show or a movie would be over, and then you'd watch a new thing. But like then, like they discovered, like wait, you can just keep making sequels and create cinematic universes and spin-offs, and then you can keep so like things used to end. Things don't end anymore. And also, there's streaming now, and thanks to Disney Plus, I think it was the two things that I think really contributed. Three things. Thing number one, Disney Plus. Now suddenly people could watch it streaming anytime, and for kids discovering it, like they don't. To someone watching it right now, it's new to them. Like, wow, I got 42 new episodes to watch. You know, so I think there's that. I think obviously there's like the internet and just the longevity of like a lot of the moments have turned into memes and had kind of a sort of a cultural impact. Apparently Summerween is becoming a... Do you guys know about this? Do you know about this? Have you seen this? This is okay. So like
TikTok famous.
yeah. So like literally in the last couple of months, people have been sending me. There was this week, New York Times, Summerween being celebrated, originating from the television show Gravity Falls. Like it's becoming a real holiday. Like it was like manifested because we were like, we want to do a Halloween episode, but the show takes place in the summer. How can we contrive a BS reason to have a Halloween episode? We'll call it Summerween, and now it's an actual holiday apparently.
Her school celebrated it, and I made her Summerween trickster costume.
Wow. Okay, I got a question. Okay, so this is amazing sound. That Bill agrees. I have a question. I have a follow-up for you. So your school had a Summerween celebration?
Daycare.
Your daycare, and was it like? Did the people who celebrated understand it to be a spin-off of a television thing, or did they just?
That I don't know.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I think a lot of people are like.
They say that like they recognize her costume. One person.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Because I think a lot of the people who are doing it, like they don't know that it came from a random Disney Channel show. But that is the origin of it. I've completely lost track of the question. I'm sorry, guys. This is now a Summerween party. There's a jack-o'-melon in here. I've got slices for everybody. It's not true. There's not. I'm so sorry. I'm very disappointed. Imagine if there was just fruit in this box. And I made you eat out of my hand. That would be the weirdest way for this to go. But yeah, so I think you know, combination of the internet and memes and stuff, and also just all the hard work that we put into the show, like we really cared, me and the crew that worked on it, and I think when you like put a lot of love into something, it even years later still kind of hums with that love. You can kind of feel it. Something, it's like I don't know. It's like sometimes in a bad, if a lot of bad things happen in like a house, it could, the theory is it could become haunted, right? I think if a lot of good things, a lot of love is put into an object, like this, somehow it kind of is like haunted with positivity, if that makes sense. The ghosts of all our efforts still live inside the show, so that's my weird supernatural answer to your question.
What a wonderful answer. And there's so many things I miss by not being on TikTok. Oh gosh.
Yeah, me too. I made a TikTok for the first time this week. I've never been on it. It's the Oregon Parks TikTok, if any of you guys follow this. I do not understand how TikTok works at all, but...
Well, you missed me completely. So I was there, I left, it was an era. Alrighty. What's fun about channeling the character of Bill Cipher, a notorious villain who thrives on burning chaos? Is it challenging to write from Bill's twisted perspective, or is he always hanging around?
No, it's very easy to write from Bill's perspective. Like, any of you who have a sibling probably have at some point annoyed or been annoyed by your sibling. And like when your sibling is annoying you, you're like, I can't, they figured it out. They figured out the nuclear launch codes to like make me angry. And when you're annoying your sibling, you're like, I press this button, I press this button. It's gonna piss him off. And so, I mean, that part that lives, you know, as a twin, that part inside me that knows how to be annoying, that's Bill. That's just what is the worst thing you could do in any given situation. And like, there is, like, I'm obviously not Bill Cipher. I'm a human, mortal man with limitations and human decency. But there is like a little Bill inside, like, and it's something I normally laugh. I kind of have like a high. My dad has like a giggle, like, like, and I kind of have like a girly dad giggle, like him, like, and I have him like amused by stuff. But whenever I'm amused by something, like where I can't believe I got away with it, and like it does spontaneously, like a, like the Bill laugh starts to come out. So like it's. You know, of all the pieces inside my psyche, like if it was like Inside Out, or you know, and there was like 6 emotions vying for like controlling me, like one of them would just be Bill. Like, you know, just smash it with a bat, see what happens.
We all have a little bit of Bill inside
Exactly.
us. Alrighty. Bill has an impressive list of superpowers, from looking amazing in formal wear to pyrokinesis. What's your personal favorite?
What's my personal favorite Bill power? That's tricky. That's tricky. I think my favorite power of Bill's is his ability to puncture the border between different fictional realms, which is to say crossovers. No other Gravity Falls character has managed to, like Bill was in The Simpsons, Bill was hiding in Rick and Morty. There's some kind of meta-narrative property to Bill, where he sort of exists beyond the borders of the script and kind of knows more than he's supposed to be able to know. It's weird to write a character that way, because it should break everything about a story, but we try to write him in such a way where he's like, right, he can't quite escape the story, but some part of him understands a little bit that there's an audience watching him outside of that story, and he's playing to that audience. That is a power. And if you knew somebody who had that power, like if you knew somebody who like kind of was friends with like the narrator of reality or something, like they could make awful stuff happen. I would probably steal that power, the warping narrativity, puncturing fourth walls. That would be incredibly OP.
Incredibly fun, though.
Yeah.
The Book of Bill is packed with stunning full-color illustrations and other cool stuff. What kind of interactive features can fans look forward into diving into?
If you throw the book at someone, it's a pop-up book. That's a secret. No, don't tell anybody else about this, but that's a true thing. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's been out for a few days, so I assume those of you who are fans, which seems like everybody probably know what's in there, but you know, there's weird puzzles and codes and games and hidden stuff and stuff that looks like it's hidden stuff that's a red herring to hide for other stuff. I've been poking around the internet a little bit, and I saw somebody yesterday tweet, "We've done it, we've solved the Book of Bill, every code." Nah, bro. No. There's so much in there. Our artists and team are brilliant masterminds, and there's many things that have not yet been discovered or clocked. So I urge those of you with the least amount going on socially to spend as much time as your heart to your heart's content looking for whatever sick instructions exist between the borders of each sentence and paragraph.
Yes, sir.
We got a future super genius over here. There it is. This is the one, the chosen one right here.
Finally, what else do you have going on these days? What else is on
Nothing
your
much.
plate?
This is it. I'm actually not leaving. I'm just gonna be hanging out. I'm gonna read every single one of these books. No, I wish that was true. I'm working on stuff, but the thing about stuff is they don't tell you, you're not supposed to talk about the stuff until the stuff is like ready to announce. There's like whole departments of every movie and TV books and TV studio where like their whole job is announcing things. So if I announce something before they do, I've like put them out of a job. I've taken food out of their child's mouth. So I'm like, Alex, don't you dare announce something when it's not announcing time. That's the announcements department. So I'm not allowed to answer that question. But stuff, cool stuff. Get your hopes way up so I can disappoint you. Yeah.
Stuff sounds very exciting. We'll all look forward to stuff. Alrighty, we are going to move into our Q&A session now. So this is the time if you have any questions to ask those. Alex, do you want to pick the person or do you want me to?
Oh man, you should pick the person. So if people are mad, they're mad at you instead of me. My human shield, everyone.
Cool. Let's do you right there in the red to the
Thank you.
right.
Do I like stand up or do I just stay here?
Say your question loudly and I'll
sorry.
repeat it into the mic.
What does Bill need? Like, is there anything that could help him? And if so, what would it be?
That's such a good question.
All right. The question
Here's
was,
anything. Thank
what
you.
does Bill need? And can anything help him?
This is actually Bill's therapist. I hid Bill's therapist in the audience to ask this question. Imagine being Bill's therapist. It'd be very Silence of the Lambs, right? He'd be constantly giving you like different versions of his backstory, and he'd be like, the answers are hidden in between each story. Yeah, what does Bill need? What would fill that bottomless pit of madness and attention for him? I mean, without sort of extruding the narrative too much, my intuition is that Bill needs things that are impossible at this point. Like what Bill needs is probably like an ability to undo trillions of years of horrible mistakes. But you can only undo a mistake if you acknowledge a mistake. So he's in so much kind of denial. His relationship to the truth is it's not just that because like a normal person knows what's true and lies about it, right? And they track the truth relative to their lies. But like cult leaders and sociopaths, they often get so deep into their own bullshit that they actually like can't remember exactly what's true. Like what's true is whatever feels good at the moment, and as long as they have enough followers and enough power, they get that validated. So like they're kind of shifting truth. Even mid-sentence, they'll change the truth because it feels right. And again, if they've got like a big enough crowd of people who worship them and like cheer every time they say it, they're like, I guess that's true. So like in order for Bill to get what he needed, first he would need to acknowledge his mistakes, which I don't think is possible. Yeah, I mean, what Bill needs is to be honest with himself, and I don't know if he's capable of that. But that's interesting to explore. If ever there's a chance to explore Bill more beyond this book, that's something that I would explore if there was ever a chance.
Thank you so much.
Next question. Let's go all the way in the back. Purple shirt, mask on.
Hi.
Love your shirt. Oh, awesome.
Just speak up and I'll repeat the question.
What advice do you have for aspiring writers?
What advice do you have for aspiring writers?
Well, first of all, love the Bad Girl Coven shirt. Fantastic. I don't know if you guys all saw that Owl House shirt. Shout out to Owl House. For those of you who haven't seen the Owl House, I did not just have a stroke. That's a character named Hootie, who is an owl tube in the show. If you're thinking, oh, that must make sense when I watch it, no, it will never make sense. Advice to an aspiring writer. Oh, I want to be snarky. Like Bill Cipher would say, like, don't do it. That's my advice. Turn back now. I mean, basically, the real answer is, for me and my writer buddies, we tend to think about a few broad things when we're writing. The first thing is, my favorite work is a combination of invention and observation. My favorite work has a nice kind of split balance between things you've seen in the real life, emotions, characters, personalities, flaws, pain, pathos, and then things that you've never seen before, the weirdest, most nonsensical stuff you can come up with. And if you can come up with a nice balance of observation and invention, you'll usually get something that both feels universal and surprising, which I think great writing is constantly, you don't know where it's going, and then when you get there, it kind of felt inevitable, and that's usually because there is a mix of observation and invention. The other piece of advice I would give is, like, you gotta make other people read the stuff that you do. It's so scary to get people to read your work, because if no one ever reads it, maybe you're a genius and it's perfect. But if they read it, then they might say, I don't like it. And then maybe, oh, you're terrible and you've made a horrible mistake. And that thought is so scary that people hoard their writing and keep it away. And I know a lot of writers who just would rather imagine that maybe they're perfect than ever discover they're not, so they never show anyone their writing. Those people do not get anywhere. It is so important that you finish a thing, enough to show it to somebody, and then show it to a couple of people, and then take the stuff you like, ignore the stuff you don't, try again, and then show it to them again. That's the iterative process. And often authors of, Stephen King, he doesn't iterate. He does a single draft. His editor says, can you cut out this part? He's like, screw you, and then they just put it out. But he's been around long enough that he can get away with that, and it's fine. Most people, they need passes, and even Stephen King does make some tiny adjustments at this point to his books based on what his editor says. So observe things, add crazy stuff you've never seen, get feedback, and just try to make sure that you are constantly adding new things to your personal life experience, because it's hard to write if you haven't lived. Constantly throw yourself into situations that you don't know anything about. Do things that are I'm not very good at mountain climbing. But when I did try to climb a mountain, and I got lost, and then we couldn't find the path, and then we thought we were going to get eaten by cougars, and then we had a long conversation about death. That was useful as a writer, and we survived. Most importantly, but they say write what you know, and if you never leave your front door, you're not going to know stuff. So live some adventures so you can write some. Those are 3 pieces of advice. All right, who's next?
Okay, let's see here. Who's the next victim? All right. Up here at the front, purple shirt. What do you think?
Yeah, what's your question?
Is anybody more powerful than Bill in Gravity Falls, or is he the most powerful being ever? And I'm not talking about different people beating him, because it's sort of a plan, but in raw strength.
Yeah. Power ranking is a question. Who's stronger? Superman beat up Bill Cipher. No, Bill Cipher would demolish Superman. Is anyone stronger than Bill Cipher in the Gravity Falls universe? Absolutely. Yes. There's a being called the Axolotl that exists outside of space and time, who has been around longer than Bill, to whom Bill is not his number one priority, who has the ability to outsmart Bill and has more powers than Bill. Bill has a hard time believing that this creature is more powerful than him, because Bill believes that anybody who is powerful would be really interested in Bill. The Axolotl's lack of interest in Bill tricks Bill into thinking the Axolotl isn't that powerful, because Bill thinks he's the center of the universe. So if you hear there's another god and the god's not paying a lot of attention to, you're like, can't be that good a god. I'm obviously the most important thing. Because Bill's weaknesses in terms of his overconfidence, his ego, and his just lack of ability to focus on one thing at a time are things that a being that has no ego and thinks on a long scale and does have empathy is actually stronger than him because of those things. Plus, just because of fiction magic.
Okay, another question. Let's go to this side of the room. Green shirt in the back.
Alright, so this is less of a question, more just a request. Could you push this book like it was Grunkle Stan just being a huckster?
Push the book like it was Grunkle Stan being a huckster.
You there, step right up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. We got the best book of all time. It is bulletproof. Try shooting at it, see what happens. Bill Cipher's the worst creature ever created. He will destroy your life. The only way to protect yourself and your loved ones is to get this book, buy as many as you can, build a house, build a fort, make a dress out of them. Go to prom wearing a Bill Cipher book dress. Everyone will love you. You'll become prom king and queen. I promise. I wouldn't lie to you. I'm Grunkle Stan. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Step right up to the Mystery Shack.
Mr. Pines, what just happened to you, dude? Your eyes went yellow when you stood up on the table and you completely dissociated for a moment.
I don't know, I'm scared. I'm frightened. What happened to me?
I think you took the wrong medication, Mr. Pines.
End scene.
Any more questions? The other side, with the flowers in the front.
Did you have any weird dreams that stood out to you when writing the book?
Weird dreams that stood out to me when writing the book. Yeah, I just would have constant nightmares about the word deadline hovering in the sky. And I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh, there's no such thing as deadlines. That was just a, it's real. Oh my God. I wish I had like a true answer to your question. And the answer is that like my dreams are like often like very like literal and not that. I did have recurring nightmares when I was Dipper's age though. It's specifically about nuclear blasts going on. I read a book when I was like 12, like a Carl Sagan like book about science. I was like, Mom, what religion are we? She's like, I don't know, read this Carl Sagan book. And the Carl Sagan book is like really interesting, but there's like a paragraph in it, and he's like written in the 70s. It's like written in 1975, and he's like, I hypothesize that by the year 2001, there will be enough loose nuclear weapons that there will be an inevitable nuclear holocaust unless nukes have been reduced severely by that time. And I was like, Mom, have nukes been reduced? And she's like, no, not at all. And I was like, okay, the smartest guy in the 70s thinks that we're due for a nuclear, like, end of the world, like, right now. And I would, like, peek outside the window of my, like, bedroom and, like, scan the horizon for mushroom clouds. And there was, like, about a month where, like, every other night I had a dream. Like, I'd, like, walk into school and there'd be, like, a white flash and I'd turn. The thing is rising and I'm like, oh, man, I wonder how many seconds I have until the blast hit. And I would wake up. I had this dream like over and over and over again. This is about the time when my sister was like listening to Backstreet Boys, so like her dreams are about Lance Bass. She was having much better dreams. That was when I was Dipper's age. So that shows you that we were them at that time. Basically. Paranoia and horror. That's an overshare. You guys didn't need to know that. Now you know. Do with that what you will.
Our penultimate question.
That means the almost ultimate question. Or the ultimate question about pens.
Let's go on this side of the room. In the black back there.
I have a question. If Bill had a brother or sister, what would he think of it, and also what would it be, good or evil?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing in the canon of Gravity Falls that suggests anything about Bill's family in any particular way, so I'm going to answer this question as a hypothetical. But, I would say that Bill strikes me as having real main character syndrome, real only child energy. He certainly acts like he's the only kid. I think if he had a twin, he would eat it in the womb. I think if he had a sibling or siblings, it would be very important to him that he ate first at every meal, and he would probably just do weird psychological acts of torment to them. Like he would saw off the bottom of their desk leg a little bit every day, so they thought that it was shrinking. They would just do. He would mess. He would make he would go into their diary and erase stuff and rewrite stuff and make them think they were going crazy. It would be small pranks that increasingly broke them down mentally, and then big pranks, just like hitting you with a stick. I think it would be a real bad. I think it'd be a real bad time.
Thank you. Last question. In the back in the green shirt with the mask on, yeah, you.
Was there anything that you wanted Bill to do or anything in Gravity Falls that didn't make it past the censors?
Nah, I mean, they were so cool and chill with everything. They're just whatever you want, man. It's like they would just skateboard in and they'd be like, you're doing such a sick job with the show. Drop some F-bombs in there, bro. We just see what happens, man. You only live once, YOLO. And I'd be like, thanks. I high five them, and then we'd go to the beach. No, that's not what would happen. Yeah, I mean, there's there's 10 departments whose job it is to make things less interesting in most companies, and we had a department like that, so there's infinite jokes and things that were cut, some of which should have been cut, and some of which shouldn't. I mean, I'd say for this book, there was a conversation where I was like, guys, like this is a book about like a demon just like possessing people and ruining their lives. And I don't want it to not be about that, so how can I do that and have you guys let me do it? So they put this like little disclaimer that says like travels to dimensions meant for older readers, which is so ambiguous, right? Like, what does that mean? What's an older reader? Like everybody, there's like so many like literal babies in the audience. Like this is just sort of like if someone is mad at us, we can point to this and say, hey, we warned you. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that like I cut out, like Bill talking about putting your hand in a garbage disposal and stuff like that. Like I'm trying to think of like a good one. Like it's not my goal with anything that I create to be like edgy or like whoa wow I can't believe they did that. Like that's not my goal. Like my goal is to like be true to each character's voice, right? So like there is a way that in my mind Mabel would really talk, and there is a way that in my mind Bill would really talk. And then there's certain things like Grunkle Stan's inspired by my grandpa Stan. And my grandpa Stan would have like 9 cigars in his mouth at once. And you can't even have 8 cigars in your mouth on a Disney Channel show. No cigars are allowed. So there's like, just think these weird little things. You're like, oh, that this character would do that, but they can't because it's on this channel. That's fine. It's not that big a deal. But I do like complaining about it. Everybody loves it when I complain about Disney. Disney doesn't love it. Here's what I'm gonna say, right? Disney let me make this book, and if they hadn't, it wouldn't exist. So I'm incredibly grateful to them for it. There's one I could tell you about. Yeah, I mean, I was straight up gonna have a whole chapter in this book about Bill making a deal with Walt Disney. And like there was going to be like this whole thing about like how he like locked Bill like in the Disney vault, and they created It's a Small World as a way to drive Bill insane. And I was like really going to have Bill like shaking hands with Walt Disney, and I was going to ask Disney if we could like hide like a Lost Bill Cipher 30s cartoon on Disney Plus, and they were just like, you cannot mention the name Disney in a Disney book. I'm like, why? We're going to be sued by ourselves? What are we doing here? And there's kind of like a weird kind of religious element. Like the company worships the guy like he's a god or something, and he's a guy. I'm like, I think if he was around, he'd have a sense of humor about it. But they really brought the hammer down on that. And so I was like, okay, it's not Disney. Like I made up a fake version of Disney, like Elias Inkwell in the 30s. And I was like, Elias came up with a character called Ducky the Mouse. And they're like, that you can't say Ducky the Mouse. I was like, yeah, what? That's not Mickey or Donald. They're like, it sounds too much like Mickey or Donald. I'm like, okay, just set this out for me. What's gonna happen? Like, what's gonna happen if the book says Ducky the Mouse? What's gonna happen? What's the problem? They're like, you can't say Ducky the Mouse. You say Ducky the Mouse, the book is over. I'm like, okay. Okay, it's not Walt Disney. It's Elias Inkwell and his cartoon Ducky the Rat Hog. And they're like, yeah, okay, that's fine. So there's a gag about a character named Ducky the Rat Hog in this book. Thank goodness. America's been saved. The children of America have been saved. So it's usually dumb stuff like that that's like not even about censorship. It's about there's someone whose whole job it is to get upset about imaginary stuff, so you have to make sure they get paid for it. So there you go. The Ducky Rat Hog is a pretty funny illustration, so it all worked out in the end.
Thank you so much for that question answering, and y'all have been a lovely audience as well. I'm going to hand the mic over to my coworker Taylor. Who's going to explain the signing system, because